Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche podcast as the Avs fall to the LA Kings, a score that's ultimately 4-1, but does not really give a good description of the hockey game, I think. Avs played some hockey. They gave it a valiant effort for the most part. They just didn't have enough left in the tank for this one, unfortunately. Not to erase any of the issues, we'll talk about the problems they had in this game and why they ultimately came up short, but let's start with the 60-second rundown, which I think I need about 7 seconds for this hockey game. First period was a good back-to-back road period from Colorado. Super sludgy, not a whole lot of action, and they're able to get the first goal on the board off a nice pinch from Josh Manson. And then the rest of the game was just more sludge and more sludge and more sludge until the Avs were buried in their own sludge. Second period was still fairly even. I didn't hate it from Colorado, even if they do give one goal back. And then the third period, the Avs just didn't have anything left in the tank. LA pushed. They put up some absurd amount of shots on goal, and the Avs couldn't keep up anymore. And eventually, Georgiev cracked, despite a valiant effort in net to keep it close. And it all falls apart in the last 6-7 minutes of the game. Is what it is. Far from perfect from Colorado, but also, you look at the context of this game, and it's a tough one for the Avs. And I think this is, unfortunately, not all that far from how you expected a game like this to play out. Am I right?
Yep. It's got the signs.
That's honestly, this whole show feels like silence might be the best response to this game. I don't know.
I really thought at the start, honestly, shot hits 2 posts. I'm like, okay, luck's on their side tonight. They played smart. They didn't give up anything much. You know what I mean? Obviously, maybe 1 or 2 good chances, which is very good. Road period. Even or better, right? They end up being up 1-0. I didn't mind it at all. I thought they played as good as the first period as you could have. If they would have scored on their power play, that would have been a big difference maker, right? Up 2-0. Second period comes along, and I just don't like. It's funny how you have your legs until your legs are gone, right? You know what I mean? It's very simple. I just felt that. I didn't like that play that they tied the game on. I didn't like that. You have full control in the offensive zone. Sure, MacK. He gets the puck. I mean, I don't like that. Next thing you know, you're a little bit of step behind, back checking. Next thing you know, it's 1-1. Then that's where your legs are starting to slip, right? You know what I mean? And then somehow in the third period, you knew there was going to be a big push, and it is what it is. It's what you're talking about in the locker room. Hey, those guys are dead. Let's jump on them and give credit to the Kings. They did. You know what I mean? They did. And we talked about it in the pregame. You got to be able to fight through schedule, But this was a typical one. I mean, this was a tough one. I actually felt bad. I had flashbacks there. You know what I mean? Like, they're tough games to play. And, they gave it all they had. It didn't go their way in the third. It went the Kings' way, and the Kings are a good team, so give them credit.
So let me ask you this. How much credit do the Avs get for being competitive for 55 minutes of this game? Is that worth something to you, or are there no moral victories here?
No, this is not a league to have moral victories, but somewhere you can't. Were they smart the whole way? No. Like I said, I don't like that first goal. Like, I just don't. This is not smart. But they gave the effort. They had nothing left in the time. I mean, it was so easy to see. They just had nothing. They couldn't handle the push coming at them, and it was like the tide coming in, and they couldn't stop it. You would have needed a miracle to have something happened where all of a sudden the game changes around, and even at the end there, you knew that pulling the goalie. I was trying to be positive in the watch line, saying, "Oh yeah, there's still a chance." You have no chance.
That game was over. The
over.
The second LA Kings goal went in the net, and that game was
done.
over.
I agree with you. I agree.
So, you have some.
I think my criticism is they didn't capitalize enough of the game when they had the most energy to give.
Spot on.
So they put themselves in a position they least could afford to find a way to win that game by leaving it to the third. Because they had a competitive, relatively evenly balanced first period, wherein I think the Kings managed their lanes very well and made it hard for the Avs to get really dangerous. But they started to find that more in the second period, and I thought it was their strongest period yet. But one lapse where it's a little bit lackadaisical, and not just from MacKinnon getting the puck poke checked away from him, but even Taves in how he manages his own lane back in his end, defending against that. Because I thought Byram did everything that he needed to in that situation. It's one lapse that allows the Kings into that game in their strongest period for the Avs, and they don't capitalize when they have their legs most under them in the second, because I'm not expecting them to have a stronger third period. And it's just tough that they allow their only penalty against in that third period when they least could afford it. And so it's a criticism that I will be able to get over within 24 hours. But that's what made it difficult, is there were significant portions of this game the Avs could have won it.
And the reality is there were opportunities there. Even after the game was 1-1, the Avs get a power play opportunity late in the second period, and it's straight up dumpster tier, right into the garbage. An awful power play from Colorado's side. And as you said, the third period expectations were low, and you got more or less what you expected.
In order to win that one, you would have needed a better game from 29, a better game from 96, a better game from 7, right?
Yep.
And you didn't get it. It made it very, very tough to get the W on that end. Simple.
I want to take a couple of angles at this, because the only goal of the game the Avs score, 29-96, and then it's a great job by Josh Manson to get in and finish the play. But you get a good play out of them for the one goal of the game.
Yep.
And at the same time, that's it. You get one quality play. You now have 6 straight periods of hockey where the Avs have not scored a goal from any of their forwards. What's it going to take to get more? Specifically out of Mikko and MacKinnon, but the entire forward core.
Break them up, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that their laziness begets more laziness. And right now there's no trust with us with a second line. The only other line that Bednar seems to have any trust in is the Colton line.
Yep.
Which is great. That line should have plenty of trust. It's very good. It's very effective. But I would say break them up. Put them on different lines and force them to be as close to the best versions of themselves to pull it out of them. If they're not going to fix it themselves, then you have to do what you have to as a coach. Pull it out of them.
Yep.
You know, put Tatar next to MacKinnon and Nichushkin, and put Rantanen next to Johansson and Durin.
Tell them to go carry these dudes.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And then the other part of that is that it would force a little bit more of the time on ice matching. You know, a little bit more of a balance with time on ice. I haven't looked for sure, but I don't think it was as bad tonight as it was last night. But also, you look at why was last night such a problem? Because you look, when the legs went tonight, they were gone. There was no getting them back.
Yep.
And part of that is that you played your top line 29 minutes last night.
Yep.
And it's one of the few times Jared Bednar sets his whole team up for failure in this game. It's a scheduled loss already. It's a very difficult task. They actually, for 2 periods, this is totally admirable.
Totally.
This is a totally admirable thing. They don't finish enough. They don't capitalize on the chances that they do create. But in order to create more of them and try and have it sustained, break them up. Don't continue to let them be lazy next to each other and be like, he's going to do it. No, he's going to do it. And this little like ping pong of irresponsibility that continues between the two of them, just knock it off. Break them up.
I don't even have a problem with the third period of this game. The Avs tried their best.
Yeah.
The effort was there for the majority of the team, and there just wasn't enough left in the tank.
Yeah. I really I don't have an issue with the game. I have an issue with the habits. And when Eric says I don't like the first goal, that's exactly it. You don't like Val Nichushkin gets beat to a spot by Quentin Byfield. Nathan MacKinnon is more upset about what would have been a very cheap penalty call instead of worrying about back checking and that kind of body language. Those you're talking about habits, commitment to detail, not cheating the game. Your top line cheated the hell out of it, and they pay the price for it, and that's it. They don't ever get it back.
Look, I'll be the one to say it. That from Nathan MacKinnon is unacceptable. Not just is it a bad back check, it's so bad that you don't get back as the fourth guy in to cover the guy who ends up setting up the goal.
Yeah, and you
because
need better
you're
from
mad.
you need better from Val Nichushkin too. It's not just Nathan
Absolutely.
MacKinnon.
There are,
No.
You want better from
Agreed.
Taves on that play too. There are other problems there, but you're looking at Nathan MacKinnon, especially on a night without Cale Makar.
Yeah.
On a night where you're on a back-to-back, your team is grinding this out.
Yeah.
And you act like that, and it ends up costing your team. It's not a good look.
Yeah, I mean, this is the stuff that we have always tacitly accepted as part of the Nathan MacKinnon experience.
Yep.
And when his role is somehow even more elevated on the team, and you get a game like this, it just shines a big bright light on habits that have been bad from him for years. And frankly, habits that Jared Bednar has always let him get away with.
Yep.
He has always just said, I'm going to let Nate be Nate for better or worse. And on a night like tonight, it was a little bit more for worse.
And look, 9 out of 10 nights, he's going to get away with it, and it's going to be fine.
Yeah, he
But-
makes up for it with so much other stuff. But on a night that he doesn't, you call him out and you say, this isn't good enough.
Yep.
And, it's fine.
I want to widen this conversation a little bit on the couch side, because obviously that play shines a light on a bad play from Nathan MacKinnon. But you're also seeing shift after shift after shift of Mikko Rantanen seemingly unengaged, seemingly struggling to do things that we've come to expect out of him. Let me ask you like this. Who's struggling more right now, MacKinnon or Rantanen? How about this? Who do you want to see more out of going forward, MacKinnon or Rantanen?
I've come to expect more from both, obviously, but the leadership component of Rantanen that he grew into last year is why I come to expect even more.
Sure.
And of course, the physicality side of Rantanen, which is a strength of his game, is something I expect to see then from him shift by shift being engaged, because a lot of how goals happen tonight is losing battles, and it's not specifically just Rantanen, but it's important. Every line needs to have somebody who is committed to that, and the more players committed to that side of the puck, the better. And that's where Rantanen can't really afford to be disengaged. Obviously, the skill upside is important too. There are some plays that only he can make, and so that also needs to show up on a nightly basis. But as it stands, I want to say now it's 0 goals in 6 games, which is just quite unusual for a former 50-goal scorer.
Yep.
Well, here's what I'll say. You're an elite player, a world-class talent, and that goes for both. They just haven't played that way. Forget about the stats right now for a second, which can be deceiving a little bit. I say it all the time. You get the good ice, you get all the power plays. God, you're going to, you have to produce. It's just, the Avs are a good team. Just Cale Makar's on the ice. Things happen. You're going to get points, but I'll say I've grown accustomed to expect more out of those two, and I think that's the standard here, and that's the championship standard. That's how you win cups. That's how they won a cup 2 years ago, top heavy, so to speak. And when you're those guys, you got to produce, and that comes with the territory. I just feel that right now on a game like tonight, we said it in the pregame. In order to win, you're going to need those guys to do what they do, which is magical at times. It just hasn't been there these last little while. I agree with AJ. Do you split them up? Why not? I agree with that. Wake them up a little bit. And, and we complain about Thomas Tatar. We complain about Sam Girard or Bo Byron or, the way, hasn't been enough. Well, to their standard, it
exactly
hasn't
right.
been enough.
Yep.
And that's not being critical of them. It's just being truthful. And if they play, the Avs are probably have 3-4 more wins in the win column. You know what I mean? Do I think they're going to come out of it? Absolutely. Is it normal to go through a stage like this? Absolutely. But on a night like tonight, when you are tired, when you are low on energy, I agree with Megan. Like, if you make something happen in the first and in the second, then you don't have to chase the game around in the third when you really have nothing. So, yeah, my answer is I've come to expect more out of those two. I don't feel that right now it's enough. And will they come out of it? Yes. But is it frustrated? Yes, it is at times because they're capable of more. They're elite world-class players.
To put it into perspective, Logan O'Connor put more shots on net than Nathan MacKinnon tonight. And some of that is the matchups. They were pretty evenly matched tonight, and this is where, like, in the middle six particularly, you're looking at the second line, and third line has been consistent and good, but LA's third line is just so good. But anyways, seeing that, though, Nathan MacKinnon has to make some better decisions there because I don't doubt that they are managing those lanes particularly well when Nathan MacKinnon's on the ice, but he has to do more and try more than to get shots through.
I love that point because with that second line especially, you come into this season, there are a bunch of questions about Ryan Johansson. When he ghosts a game, you're not shocked by this. Same thing is true of Jonathan Drouin. As we've found out this year, to some extent, same thing is true of Tomas Tatar. Even on that third line, Ross Colton is a middle six player because he will go on stretches where he's not finishing very well. And you look at MacKinnon and Rantanen, and those are the guys you turn to. Those are the guys that say, look, we expect you to get it done when these players down the lineup are in a little bit of a slump or not doing the things that they do well. And they're just not doing enough. They're not getting it done right now.
Well, just to jump in and finish to my point there, forget about the schedule. I'll use your line. You can only play the game that's right there, right?
Yep.
So if you look at that game, who's their superstar / top line? It's Kopitar, Byfield, and Kempe. If you look at it, if you break down the game, they have 2 goals. MacKinnon, Rantanen, they have the one goal, right, which is the Manson goal. So they lost that battle.
Yep.
Of the first lines. They did. I mean, that's just, you're being honest. You want to break it down that way? They gave up. They scored 2 where our top line scored 1. Forget about the schedule. I'm not comparing. I know they had 4 days without a game, and these guys were on the 3 and 4 nights. It's tough. I'm not saying that. But if you look purely at the game tonight, it wasn't enough from those guys.
Yep.
Especially when you get into that third period and it's obvious that the Avs are, it's like, Georgiev, save us. And it's like,
that's where a superstar makes one play that changes the game.
Exactly. That's where it's like, this is where Nathan MacKinnon has to separate.
Yep.
This is where Mikko Rantanen has to come up out of his, what feels like a 2-week-long slumber now.
Yeah.
And do something a little different. You know, Mikko has made a handful of individual plays in games where you're like, hi, Mikko. But it's like a prairie dog just popping up and saying hello, and then he's gone again.
6 more weeks of winter.
Exactly. That's...
Groundhog.
I was like, that's not a prairie dog. Anyway. Like, you need that dude to just be here.
Yep.
And in a game like this, third period, it's 1-1. You need somebody to do something. You need somebody to make a play. Who makes the play for LA? It's not Carl Grundstrom. Who makes it?
They're top dudes.
Yeah, it's Adrian Kempe making a great last-second decision. Okay, I've drawn them out. Quentin Byfield's just standing by himself in front.
Get him the puck.
This is an easy one. This is not, that's an easy finish. The same as it was an easy finish for Mikko Rantanen in first period. When he had it on the back door, he takes it. You could have timed his decision making with the sundial. I mean, glaciers move faster than Mikko's decision making. He's got the puck on his stick and allows the defender to get over there, and it's not even a shot on goal anymore.
Yep.
It should have been 2-0 right there on his stick.
Yep.
And they don't make that play. It takes LA Stars a while to make the plays that they need to, but they make them. They make them. And we can be all rah as we want about how close the Avs came to getting to overtime and feeling like you got something out of it. It's fine. You can feel as good as you want about Alexandar Georgiev, who was kick ass in this game.
We'll talk about him.
But your Stars just didn't do enough.
Yep.
You know, you could be mad about Ryan Johansson and whatever, but this is a game that gets decided. This game in particular is one that's decided by Stars.
That's it.
It's decided by your best players, and Colorado's best players. Once again, we are having this conversation about them just ghosting the game.
Yep.
There's just not enough out of them. It's not enough. A little too self-satisfied for me.
The good news is I think we all have confidence that their best players will get back to being the best versions of themselves as this year goes on.
These guys are too accomplished and have been so good at such a high level that you don't look at it and say, oh, God, the Avs are doomed. You're just like, sitting through this stretch sucks.
Yep.
It's not fun.
Yep.
Especially when Kale's not there, right?
That makes
Yeah,
it
it's
even
Even
worse.
more
Yeah.
glaring.
And like you do look at this game tonight, and you're like, the Avalanche were 5 minutes from getting a point, in which they are all the schedule elements to it.
No
But
Cale Makar.
You have no Cale Makar. You have no Sam Girard. You have no Arturi Lehkonen. I know that they don't have Victor Arvidsson. They haven't had Victor Arvidsson for very much in the last 2 years. It's not a big loss there. I mean, it's a big loss, but it's not like they're losing a guy that's a regular part of that lineup.
We also aren't mentioning the Avs missing Gabe Landeskog.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, some of these guys are just gone now. So, you know, like, you have that. If you're realistic about that, it's. We didn't really talk much about it last night, but like, yeah, the Avs lost the game in a shootout where Cale Makar didn't play in 3v3.
Yep.
How different is that 3v3 if Cale Makar's in there? We have no idea. We don't know. Maybe the exact same thing happens, and Leo Carlson puts Ivan Prosvetov on the moon with that move.
For all we know, Cale
Fine.
Makar could score it into his own net again. But
Exactly. Exactly. But you don't know. You feel like there's better? Yeah, there is better. The Avs have more to offer. The Avs have better to offer. It sucks that those guys aren't available. You're trying to make hay, but that's life. Like, you can't go back and replay the game and be like, oh, well, we have our preferred lineup. All right, well, we've had our days off. Like, they'll see them again this year.
Yep.
They're 1-1 so far this year on a season series. And when the Avs were healthy, they took care of business.
True.
You know, when the Avs didn't have all the elements against them, and all that considered as a 1-1 game, 14 minutes into the third period.
The Avs were very much in this game.
They were this close to making hay out of a really tough situation, despite getting rolled in the third period.
Yep. Look, sometimes these are the realities of a Sekababa. Maybe the best way to deal with it is do the emotional hedge betting, all right? You can do that with the Circa Sports app. You can gamble with Circa here in Colorado now. Obviously, you can go to Vegas and go to their unbelievable casino too, but right here, right on your couch, you can get the Circa Sports app today at circasports.com. Go download it, get in, make your bets, do whatever you want with it, have some fun with it. Bet against the Avs if you want the hedge. What? Oh, hey, it's him.
I graduated.
It was weird to see him on TV and then look over and see him sitting right there.
I'm everywhere.
I'm everywhere.
You can't be stopped. Again, go over to circasports.com today to download the app. Bets can only be made while specifically located in the state of Colorado. Must be 21 or older. All rights reserved. Circa Sports Colorado encourages you to gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER or visit problemgamblingcolorado.org. And then when you win a little bit extra cash, go get yourself some Snarfs. Absolutely delicious sandwiches from
Yes.
Snarfs. DU also some tough hockey this week, but
They split the series. That's good enough for me.
better than the Avs. They got to win at least. Go get yourself some Snarfs down at DU or a couple of other locations here in Colorado. Delicious sandwiches all the way around. Whatever you get from them. Next time you go, I'm just going to say surprise me because all of their sandwiches are
They're
so
so
good.
good.
You can't miss with Snarfs. Get in with them. Go over to your local Snarfs location today. Get your good sandwiches. And if you want to come to the Avalanche Takeover December 9th, we're taking over Ball Arena, party bus, all that good stuff. And when you get your tickets with us, you get a $25 Snarfs gift card just for coming with us and watching Avs hockey. So another great way to get some Snarfs. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. I do want to talk about some of the positives in this game. Number one, Alexandar Georgiev tried. He tried. to keep the Avs in this hockey game.
Well, you look
man.
at the 3 goals that go against him.
Nothing you can do on any of
Those three goals go in against every single goalie in the world 100% of the time.
Yep.
Not me in street hockey, though. I was sick. Still am.
Certainly the first two are entirely unstoppable.
Well, and the way that goaltending is taught now for the third goal, every goalie plays it that exact way. And they say, if you're going to be able to make that play coming out of the corner, I'll give it to you.
I'm not faulting Georgiev at all on this one. I just want to make a joke about how Ivan Prosvetov is 6'6" and might just be tall enough that it just hits him anyway.
I mean,
He wouldn't have been there. He
Yeah.
would have been on the
I know. Relax. I'm allowed to have a little fun
he's
tonight.
on the outside of the post. And he doesn't know where he's going. He probably hasn't seen the puck in 30 seconds.
But point being,
Megan. That's very
I
funny.
love Georgiev, you guys.
No, we're talking.
Oh, yeah, we're talking.
I know. No,
yeah.
I know. I
Georgiev's
just
great.
want to redirect it.
let's talk about something else. But it's funny because this will be another night where Georgiev's save percentage, it's not in the 800s, but it ends up being like a 915 or something when it really deserves to be more like a 950. And if you're trying to take something forward out of this weekend, I think you look at that and you say, hey, you're still getting a pretty good goalie performance here. That's something that you're still trying to swing in the right direction.
Got a great goalie performance.
You just need to support that guy a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to win very many games in the NHL. You score 1 goal.
Yeah, it's tough.
Nope.
And the other part of it is you're not going to win very many games in the NHL. When you just completely run out of gas in the third period and you're like, hopefully our goalie plays well enough to get us to overtime.
I mean,
Cool.
Georgiev makes what, 15 consecutive saves in the third period?
Something like that, man.
And some of them are banger saves too.
Yeah, some great save. I mean, the guy was awesome tonight. He's awesome tonight.
No doubt.
There are some 3-goal games this year against Georgiev where you're like,
You don't love.
Come on, man. Don't love this. Don't love that. What are you complaining about tonight? The guy ruled.
He was awesome.
Yeah. I love that side of it. Josh Manson gets his first goal of the season. The Avs continue to find success with defensemen activating in the offensive zone.
Weird. Something new for them.
Sure. New. How... I guess I don't even know how to ask this because the reality is this has been something consistent for Colorado. It's something that they are able to fall back on as part of their game plan that works for them offensively. Can they continue to do this with players like Josh Manson, throwing a Sam Malinsky in on a night tonight like tonight, Caleb Jones and Jack Johnson, when they're out a couple of defensemen? Is this sustainable for them?
I'm conflicted because the usage for some of the defensemen, like Manson, I think his play has been on the rise. And I
agree.
think contributing from the back end has been important. Getting him on the score sheet was important, but he also has tough involvement on the second goal against, I believe it is. And similarly, Jones on, I want to say, the third goal
he gets
against.
torched on the third goal.
He gets danced by Trevor Moore, former DU Pioneer. And
You should have heard her reaction when he scored. She just goes, "Oh no, I'm so conflicted."
it was sick. But
It was very
So
good.
That's where it becomes complicated. And honestly, I think Manson, I believe in him more to be defensive responsibly throughout the course of the season. I don't have more concerns there, but that's where giving more trust to like the entirety of the D-core is tough for me because players like Jones and Johnson are in tough territory. I thought Malinsky had a good night, and it has introduced this new argument of should they give the second power play unit more of a chance if the top unit's just not going to get done in the last couple of games. And I'm not saying throw Malinsky on PP2 and ride with that forever, but I do think they need to try some new things on the power play generally, just based on what I've seen the last couple games.
Yeah, we've long been talking about maybe you try Byram on PP1 instead of Taves, things like that too. It's an interesting spot, especially with someone like Malinsky. Like you said, I think he was good tonight. There were also a couple of, he's a rookie moments along the way too. But
flawless.
None that
Okay.
costed him, so I pretend
Yeah.
I do not see it.
Puck never go in net, so
was
Malinsky
early in the
perfect.
game, but he settled in nice after
Yeah.
that. Made a couple plays earlier, like, but then you know what? He found a way to overcome it, not get nervous, and I thought he thrived more and more as the game went on. That's my view.
He was trusted with a lot of ice
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
too. I was comparing it to Justin Barron once upon a time, and it's just kind of unheard of to see a youngish rookie player getting that much of a leash from Bednar, and I think it's encouraging that there's a good relationship between those two.
Yeah, and we don't know how long Kale's going to be out, so this could be a short stint. It could be a more extended stint. We'll just have to wait and see. But I agree. I don't know how much of this being a back-to-back and him being the fresh legs plays into him getting more time on ice tonight.
Yeah,
But
Some of it.
good point.
But it's a start.
Bednar is not afraid to take a look at a guy and say, you're getting 6 minutes tonight. And he did not do that with
Right.
Malinsky.
Yeah, he's been doing it to Tomas Tatar for weeks.
I don't know what to tell you there.
He had the 2-on-1 chance, too, another. He missed it. I was like, oh, God. He's
Puts it
doomed.
right into Talbot's glove.
Yep.
He's doomed.
Give me a break with this.
Well, and I was ready to say don't defer because you have the shot between these two,
Yep.
and then he didn't defer, and I was like, well,
Yeah, he's got all assists and no goals. Maybe you should have passed. Know who you are.
no, know who you are.
He's a fish. A tuna fish, specifically. And again, it wasn't a perfect game, but you saw the Avs' commitment to trying to get this across the line all night.
Yeah.
The defense really, certainly before the third period, I thought was very good for the most part.
Dude.
They had great sticks. They were breaking up plays on the regular.
So it's really, their team defense is really good.
Yep.
But the defensemen in particular,
They were lights out early in this game. Yeah.
I thought Bo and Byram ruled
Yep.
in this game. Defensively, I was like, get him, Bo. And I'm starting to wonder more about the Bo. Is he ever going to be successful as a guy that plays 17 minutes? Or is he a guy that you just
You need the 22.
give him
yeah.
21 every
Yeah.
single night? If he's
Let-
going, if he's not going, but he plays his way through games in such an interesting way.
Got to amp up the generator a
Yeah,
little bit.
but I'm
yeah.
like, you know what? Just throw him out there every third shift, no matter what. Just get him out there and let him play through his stuff. Because
Fair.
he had the not. It was an uneven game in Arizona.
For sure.
I thought it just got so much better from there, and now I'm like, great. Now I'm back. Bo's back. Both sexuals are back. It's
What?
great.
Jesus.
Just let us. We're gonna ride
Yeah.
for as long as McCarr is out. Byram's role gets even bigger, and if he's gonna respond to bigger minutes, then maybe when McCarr comes back, you say,
Just keep running it. Yeah.
"Sorry, Devon, but Bo Carr is here."
Bokar.
It is what it is. Devon, I feel like, has been a bit up and down the last handful of games as well. Not that I'm not taking away from his quality plays. I think you've just seen a couple of execution struggles from him. The second goal tonight, puck goes right through him again when he's the guy in that passing lane. And I'm not saying that's an easy play to make, but he's the guy stuck in the middle there. Is room open with McCarr out? Is Bo the number one? It's the point I'm getting at here.
I don't
No.
know. Goals have run
No.
through Taves now in 2 games when they need more from other people. I don't know.
Yeah, again, it's probably a pretty nitpicky thing, but
No, you expect more from him, though. Big extension, veteran player. I think it's fair to have some criticisms then of Taves.
especially on a night when McCarr is out of the lineup. Taves is the top of that list now. And again, I don't think he was bad. He played pretty good through the first 2 periods. He's just the guy standing there on that second goal. That's all. On that note, I don't have any good one. Injured at work, got in a car accident.
If you're Gabe Landeskog, who got injured at work,
He did get injured at work. It's true. It counts. If your team
he's just been on my mind a lot.
does
lately.
not
That's
bail
all.
you out when you make 34 saves in a Sega Baba, call Bacchus and Schenker at 2222 today. You can also go to coloradolaw.net. Whatever the situation, if you were injured and you were not at fault, they'll give you a free consultation. If you have a case, you pay them nothing up front. They don't get paid until you get paid, and they'll get you paid, almost certainly. They've won over $1 billion for their clients here in Colorado. They've been doing it for over 25 years. They're very, very good at what they do. So call Bacchus and Schenker today at the 2 number. Get with them. Bacchus and Schenker wins. And then, once you've got the money in the back pocket from Bacchus and Schenker, you can get over and get yourself a brand new roof with Red Hawk Roofing. They're out at the bar today, giving away some awesome stuff. Also, they're great for your roof. You don't even have to get a new roof. Red Hawk Roofing will give you a free inspection. You don't have to pay anything. They'll go up on your roof. They'll take pictures. They'll let you know what's going on up there, what might be wrong, what looks good, all of that. Don't have to pay anything for that. And then if you want to get something fixed or you need something fixed, they got you covered for that too. They're available 24/7. They also do emergency calls. So if a leak happens to spring, they'll come out there quick and get whatever it is fixed up for you. They're awesome. The best roofing company here in Colorado. You got to go check them out. RedHawkRoofing.com today before we really get into winter or the snow starts piling up. So.
If your roof is springing leaks like the Avs in the third period.
Oof.
Got it.
Boy,
Prospatov.
Going for your job, Rudo.
If I get 20 inches of snow, that would be about the
Please.
equivalent of that third period,
it
I think, based on the onslaught.
Gosh. That's a lot of snow.
Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. I think I've said my part. I don't really have that much of a problem with the third period. Avs ran out of gas.
Okay, but Rudo, which 2C are you trading for at the deadline?
Which one's available?
Elias Lindholm.
Sure. What am I giving up?
Sean Barons.
Whoa,
Sorry.
whoa,
Sorry.
whoa.
No brainer.
I'm not saying the
And a
Avs
first round pick.
don't need better forward depth scoring. I think that they do. But we kind of already talked about it. There are bigger fish to fry right now. You need more from your stars before you're asking for more from your depths.
So trade MacKinnon.
Big brain. Now we're going in.
Well, I mean, it's worked so well divvying up Landeskog's $7 million. Imagine divvying up 12.5 for a bunch of other NHL players. I bet you could be as good as Seattle was last year.
Oh my gosh.
Big picture.
They're so good, though.
Road trip's disappointing, right?
Yeah,
You
man,
get
there's
2
no
points of
getting
6.
around it. It's a bummer to come home. You have 2 points out of 6. You certainly blow the Anaheim game. You blow the Anaheim game. There's no way around that. It's a bummer. It's a disappointment and below the level of expectation that the Avalanche expect.
Kale McCarr gets hurt, and that's
bad.
Over the team in a very dark way.
It does.
I'm still giving them the Arizona game that they might not have been feeling 100%, but I do not feel that is still an excuse. So
Yeah.
this is a bit of a tough end to it all.
It's funny because I say big picture, and yeah, it's a bad road trip. Bigger picture, they have points in 6 of their last 7 games.
Exactly.
That looks pretty decent.
Goodness.
Plus, once they put it all together, again, we're going hard on, especially me on Rantanen. He's got 6 points in 5 games. I mean, man, that's a good month for a guy like me back then. You know what I mean? So, but we're putting it in perspective, right? And once they put it all together, once the goaltending's good, once the depth scoring's coming in, once everybody's healthy back then, once the top guys are going, then that's a lethal team. It's a tough team to beat. So I'm not worried about it. But right now, you are going to go through the dips of the schedule, like where you're under the weather a little bit. You're 3 and 4, Segababa. Your best player, arguably, Kale McCarr's been their best player, right? On a big
I don't
game.
think it's even arguable.
That's what I'm
pretty
saying.
easily.
Yeah, I mean,
This season, he's been absolutely their best player,
So,
man.
again,
Absolutely.
I just don't want to say. I always say he is the best, so here you go. All of a sudden, he's not in a big game like tonight. So that's another hole. So, you know what? It's one of those road trips. Turn the page. You get home.
Yeah.
You may get some home games coming up, right? A lot of home games.
Yeah.
You
I
make
think
some
5 in
hay.
a row.
Yeah, and you get teams that are banged up that are coming.
And they
in.
get
You
their revenge on
you get-
Anaheim coming up.
Yeah,
absolutely.
you have Anaheim,
Yes.
Philadelphia, and Calgary coming up in the next 5.
Jets.
Shit.
Jets too, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I'll talk about that game.
Yes, your favorite team, the Jets. Anyway, I'm just saying, once you put it all together, I'm not worried about it. Like, it's. Could you have liked a better outcome tonight? Yes. Could you have liked a better outcome in the last 2 games or 3 games, whatever, this road trip? Yes. But it wasn't in the cards. They managed a couple games where they scooped up a couple points. Those matter at the end. Those matter at the end.
If you go 4-1 on the in this homestand,
All is forgiven.
I mean, you look back on this and you're like, well, it was a day. That day of hockey happened.
That's it.
I think part of this is the Avs have played well enough this season that they can afford themselves a 2 out of 6 point stretch.
Sure.
This is not a, oh God, we needed every single one of
Definitely.
those points.
Yeah, in a 2 out of 6. You remember when they lost 5 of 7 at one point this year? Like
1 point below
getting
500.
2 points out of 6 in a 3-game stretch is like, if this is your problem, you're living pretty clean living here.
It will happen again.
Don't say that.
I'm just telling you.
Both of you with your negativity over
It's
there.
not negativity. it's
I know what I am.
We're
happen
fighting.
again. It will. That's
We're
okay.
fighting.
So what are our biggest takeaways? Just need more from the Stars? Is that the key one?
On a game like tonight, for me, the only way you were winning is if they were doing elite things. Because you got the goaltending, right? You did.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
got
totally,
the smart
totally.
team play in the first half of the game. I think you needed a couple plays, special plays from special players. You didn't get those plays tonight. That's it.
This might be dramatic and deviate a little bit too much, but I think they need more down the middle generally. I think that Freddie Olofsson and Ryan Johansson had tough nights in the faceoff dot, and that's been true of Olofsson for a little bit now. And it controls the flow of the game, especially one that isn't disrupted so much by special teams, in just giving them a competitive edge with possession. And I don't want to nitpick that too seriously, but I do think that's an area where I'd like to see just a little bit more from everyone down the middle, generally speaking.
Freddie Olofsson has a 34% face-off percentage. You're basically not a center at that point when it comes to face-offs.
Not his fault, but also on the ice for another goal against.
He was.
I was
He had-
thinking about that. It was a lost.
Just changed, I think, for that third goal.
Not directly on him, unlike the one in Anaheim, but
Yeah.
Right.
He had really nothing to do with it, and it's
Yeah.
more just like bad luck.
but still.
But I mean, I think that you bring up Frederick Olofsson in particular, and I think that's a spot that you really need to start saying.
Ben Myers is right there,
You,
dude.
well, you start saying, okay, 4C, you are halfway home to the trade deadline right now.
Yeah.
And you're looking at that. That is one of the easiest spots to improve.
True.
And you're looking at Frederick Olofsson, and you're saying you've got 25 games to prove why
You
we
should
don't spend
stay. Yeah.
why we don't spend a 5th-round pick on somebody else. Why we don't go and trade for Jason Dickinson at the trade deadline to just take that job.
Yep.
To be that guy, and then when postseason comes, you're still on the roster. We'll turn to you if you need you, but you've lost that job.
Yep.
He went from I need to prove it. It went really well for about 10 games, and over the last 10-ish, roughly 10 games, it has not gone as well. So that's a guy that I agree with Megan. That's a name that I'm looking at, and I'm saying you've got more to do here.
We kind
You have more to do here.
Because I've seen better.
Absolutely.
I have really liked his fit in those games that he performed well, and I think that he has the right work ethic for this team, so I'm not giving up on him entirely, but I know he's capable of better.
first 15 games of the season, he was exactly what you wanted.
Yep.
Outside of the face-off.
and as
Which
advertised,
we could live with because of
Yeah.
the other things.
Right.
you do like. For me, it's like they're just comfortable losing draws to start every PK.
Yep.
And it's like you're not even competitive with them. It's not. Yeah, we'll live with 60-40. We're talking like 70 plus here.
Yeah.
And Ross Colton not being able to fulfill that role has been a disappointment. You can't do it with Ryjo because every time he gets
just
on the
can't
ice on the
PK if
PK,
they lose it, yeah.
he loses it. He's on the ice, they get scored on, everybody's mad.
Yep.
But definitely you need more from a guy like Ryan Johansson. And
100%.
My frustration is that I thought Ryan Johansson actually was going a little bit over the first 2 games of the road trip.
And not
you
tonight at all.
You saw
yeah.
better. And then tonight you're like, this is a bad Ryjo game. And his bad games, nothing happens. He's just out there. The puck touches him for a couple of seconds. If that is gone again, he's just, it's the SS Ryjo at its worst.
Yep.
Right? It's the ultimate passenger.
Just floating in international waters.
Yeah. It is the ultimate passenger ship. There was better, and I don't think that he got opportunities on nights when he was playing a little bit better.
I agree.
Because Bednar's been a little too obsessed with that top line. So, a couple of things that lead into each other here. The Frederick Olofsson thing, though, is a big, and it's not just him. Cogliano, Kiviranta, those guys. That line, it has to be better. It has to be better.
Fourth line has to be better. I'm with you on that. To come full circle on kind of what you talked about the other night against Anaheim, your second line center has got to play more than 9 minutes a night. And if that's Ross Colton, okay, fine. Make it Ross Colton and play him 13, 14, 15 at 5-on-5 minutes a night. Because you just cannot play anyone 30 minutes a night. You're not human if you can survive that much hockey.
Yeah, Chris Pronger retired a long time ago. And he doesn't play center.
He's not even close to center. Played at center ice a lot.
Yeah.
That's really all I got for this one. Anything else you guys want to add? Keep it simple. All right. We'll get out of here quick because we got a whole nother week of shows coming y'all's way.
December just started. I know Nikolai Kovalenko's like a guy that we talk about a lot.
He's still months away.
It's March, guys.
Yeah.
Like, it's the end of March he's coming. So the trade deadline is past when Nikolai Kovalenko gets here. Wherever he fits, we don't even know if he's going to be in that lineup right away. We don't know what the Avalanche roster looks like when that happens. The only thing that we know is that he's coming.
Yep.
After that,
we'll see. Either way,
I've used it like 4 times. Nikolai Kovalenko.
Do you have a sunglasses guy emoji?
No, I only picked
Tragic.
negative ones. I didn't mean to.
Sorry, Shady Rays, no sunglasses guy emoji. But we are brought to you by Shady Rays. You can go get your sunglasses today at shadyrays.com. Use code DNVR and you get 50% off when you order 2 pairs or more. The coolest part is first 30 days, you break them, you lose them, you just don't like them, hit up Shady Rays. They'll replace them entirely for free. So go check them out. Go give them a try. Over 250,000 people have given them a 5-star review. Get with them at shadyrays.com and use the DNVR code. That's all for this one. We will be back tomorrow for our first off-day show in ages.
We had one last week.
Oh, yeah, but I wasn't on it, right? Is that what it was?
I don't remember anymore, man.
I don't know. I can't.
I barely.
Time is a flat circle.
I barely remember Friday.
No kidding, dude. Everything's going by quick. But we'll be live tomorrow, probably talking around the league, a little bit of that action.
We have to talk Blackhawks. I listened to the CHGO show, and now I just want to talk Blackhawks.
Okay. We'll talk about
Guys, they're
Blackhawks, I'm
bad.
sure. We'll talk about a whole bunch of stuff. We appreciate all y'all hanging out with us tonight. We will be back tomorrow, and we'll talk to you then.
We all silly like the mayor.